Now, what you're about to witness takes confusion to a whole nother level and is the direct result of either failing, skipping, or completely disregarding every biology concept that you've ever been presented with.
What is a fertilized egg? You can Google it.
Go ahead.
Fertilized egg?
I can tell you it's not a human being.
What is it? Is it a koala bear?
I believe it's a zygote.
What is a zygote? A zygote of what species? Because there's lots of different zygotes. There's koala bear zygotes. There's elephant zygotes. What's a zygote?
You have Google, you tell me. And what is your background in medicine and science?
Fertilized egg is an embryo. An embryo is an early stage of development of a multicellular organism. In general, in organisms that reproduce sexually, embryonic development is part of the life cycle that begins after fertilization and continues to the formation of body structures. A fertilized egg is an embryo or a zygote. No matter how you want to call it, that's a member of our human being. You're using a dehumanizing term to dehumanize human beings in the earliest stages by saying, oh, it's just a fertilized egg. A fertilized egg, when sperm meets egg, bam, a unique human life comes into existence with a brand new genetic code that's never existed before and will never exist again.
Conception. I love it. I love the way Kristen Hawkins boldly speaks out for life and not against it. These people, they are confused. They're lost. They're filled with wickedness right now, but they make these excuses. They make these lackluster arguments and try to degrade and demoralize what life actually is. They're lazy. They're selfish, self-righteous, ignorant, naive, whatever you want to label it as. And notice how this conniving young woman tried to say, oh, well, what experience do you have in the health field, in medicine? You don't need to have experience in health to know common sense, to know what a life is. You know what a life is, or at least you should. Your parents should be absolutely ashamed if you don't know what a life is, because your mama let you live. The sheer fact that you're standing today, every single Mother's Day, you should be counting your blessings because your mom made the choice to let you survive, to let you develop, to let you grow into a human being. And this is how you honor her, labeling babies as zygotes and clump of cells and fetuses and all of this. Notice how when a miscarriage happens, no matter what trimester it is, nobody uses those labels, not whatsoever. And I'll talk about that more in detail after Kristen finishes this out. But these people are twisted. This is the deep, dark despair, the slippery slope that we're going down. If we keep letting people like this make it seem like taking life is okay. Thou shalt not murder. Even if you don't know the Bible, you should know moral standards which come from the Bible, which is completely derived from how God created natural human order. Come on now, wake up.
Bam! A unique human life comes into existence with a brand new genetic code that's never existed before and will never exist again. And that new genetic code, life. What is it? Is it dead?
It's not alive. It's not alive.
It is.
Wait. How can it grow into a baby if it's not alive?
It's not a life.
It's not like, what is it? So it's living, but it's not a life.
It's a thing. It is a clump of cells.
I'm a clump of cells.
Yeah, and you have life.
I'm a thing.
Yes, and you have a brain, and you have brain waves.
So,
and you have the ability to have consciousness. You can feel pain.
An embryo has the ability to feel consciousness.
Not until the third trimester.
So now, okay, so what you're saying is your value as a person is based on your functional abilities.
You don't want to go there.
Your autonomy isn't until you have consciousness.
Who? Says who?
Says the law.
Your bodily autonomy isn't until you have consciousness?
Yes, that is how bodily autonomy works. That is why you are able to harvest organs from people who are brain dead.
And that's not how the law works, because in PCB Planned Parenthood, the Supreme Court allows abortions to be restricted by states at about 24 weeks. But we know a child, a lot of people would argue that a child at 24 weeks isn't fully cognizant of who he or she is. So is KCB Planned Parenthood wrong?
People have varying opinions about it. I don't think life begins at a heartbeat. And a heartbeat, Bill, that's not even a heartbeat yet.
It's fetal cardiac pole activity is how you call it?
Yeah, because it's not a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's just part of the heart that's developed.
Yeah, so it's not a
heartbeat.
The heart isn't beating yet.
It's just
It's not pumping blood, so it's
just
not heartbeat
beating,
yet.
but it's not heartbeat.
It's just sending electrical impulses, which is not a heartbeat.
It's just sending electrical impulses. It's not a heartbeat. Girl, what do you think a heartbeat is? What are you doing? What are you actually saying right now? You're a human being. Come on, wake up. Shake yourself out of it. Come up out of bed. Come up out of the woke delusion and come in and enjoy reality. If it's not a heartbeat, what do you call it? It's beating. It's pumping. Electrical impulses shooting. Wow. These people are goofy.
Your medical and scientific background was?
I can Google.
What was your medical and scientific
I don't have a
background?
medical and scientific background because
Don't
I'm
need
a smart person and I can Google.
So you think your Google is better than a doctor or something?
Hell yeah, because you just disputed when 96% of all biologists agree that at the moment of conception, a unique, whole, living human being comes into existence.
They don't believe
you
it's
want to
alive.
call it a fertilized egg.
'Cause
It's
it's not
also
alive.
called, via Google, an embryo or zygote. Those are stages in every person's life. You didn't come from an embryo or fertilized egg. You once were one. And your value today as a human being that makes you irreplaceable was the very same even when you were a fertilized egg or zygote in your mother's fallopian tube.
Amen.
It's the same because it's a slippery slope. If at any moment you start saying, well, I don't believe you have human rights until you have consciousness. I don't believe you have human rights until you fully have the ability to reproduce. You don't have human rights until you're fully grown. That's a slippery slope because every single one of us would come up with a different definition of when human rights begin. And throughout our history, as I pointed out at the beginning of my presentation, throughout history, when you allow people to decide what characteristics deem a human being worthy of life and that life worthy of protection,
We already decided that
bad
with the
things
Terry
happen.
Schiavo case in the Supreme Court, which stated that if you don't have brain waves, then you do not have bodily autonomy legally.
And a lot of people I know would deeply disagree with what the Supreme Court said, just like how I disagree with what the Supreme Court said in Dred Scott and said that human beings who are black weren't full persons. Or the Supreme Court said that in Plessy v. Ferguson that, yeah, you can have separate but equal, sounds good to us. Or what the Supreme Court said in Roe v. Wade, the unique whole living human being doesn't have the rights to be protected. I disagree with a lot of Supreme Court rulings. And by the way, what's the Supreme Court's background science? Because I'm pretty damn sure in Roe versus Wade, the 7 men that ruled in Roe versus Wade literally started out the decision saying, we're not scientists or philosophers here.
I wish scientists were the ones that were making these decisions.
And me too,
not
because
men.
96% of them agree
They don't.
that human life begins at the moment of conception. The question is that human life valid? You're like arguing yourself in a way it doesn't sound great for you.
Excuse me?
You just denied like
Dancing in
science
circles.
to everyone here. It is a life. It is a member of our species.
That is what
that
your
is
opinion says
undisputed.
that it is a life. It
What
is
you're
disputed
arguing
by
is
every
that life doesn't
scientist.
have value. Let me help you. You're arguing that life doesn't have value. That a woman's life has more value than your own.
God bless Kristen Hawkins. And she just said 96% of biologists agree that human life begins at conception. And this girl, what does she do? Oh, no, they don't. That's your opinion. You just asked her if she had experience in the medical field. These people do. Biologists, that's what they do. That's what they get paid the big bucks for. But now their opinion isn't good enough. How much y'all gonna keep pushing the goalposts back? How much are you gonna keep pushing things back? We evolve, we learn, we grow, we make right the wrongs of the past. We all got sin. We learn from them and we make changes. That's what we do. And since this video went live, this was like a year ago since this came out, Roe v. Wade was overturned. Amen. Thank the Lord. We have so many more things that we need to do. There's a long way to go. We need to make abortion illegal across the board. That's going to upset some people. That is what it is. But what's crazy to me is that I bet if Kristen Hawkins was speaking on saving unborn whales and koala fetuses, this young woman is so brainwashed that I bet she would be on the pro-life team all day long because it's crazy. Ain't that something? Like, it's terrifying that these students and people out in the real world, not enrolled in school or anything like that, it's terrifying that they have 0 ounce of common sense, moral standards, or critical thinking skills. We're at a point in society where animals, y'all, and made up genders, because there's like a million of them now with they, a this, a thus, a that. You could be a dog, a cat, identify as whatever you want, anything under the sun. Animals and those made up fairy tale genders are valued more than naturally born men and women. Good Lord, help these people. I know I touched on this midway through the video, but I have to go back. I have to dive a little deeper. Somebody please make it make sense why when a mother loses a child due to a miscarriage, no matter what actually happened in that scenario, why is it a baby or a life, or people feel sympathetic and they feel a sense of loss and sadness for that child and that mother, but when it's in the act of abortion, choosing to murder, choosing to take an innocent life, then you want to change up the narrative. Then you want to use these scientific terms like fetus and zygote and clump of cells to try to remove the emotion out of the situation. That's not okay. You got to keep the same standard across the board. Like I said, you can't keep pushing the goalposts back. Value life inside and outside of the womb, no matter how it got there. I know how it got there. God formed and knitted you in your mother's womb. God don't make mistakes. Whether you believe in him or not, that's how we came into creation. We're created male and female in God's image. So that baby, you have a couple choices. Before it gets there, you can choose to use protection. You can choose not to lay it down, be celibate, be abstinent, whatever it is. I know that's not usually a popular choice. Or I got another two for you. You can choose to adopt that baby, put that child up into a chance and an opportunity to be raised by a loving family that's able and capable of doing so, or raise the child yourself. There's tons of resources all around, churches, all different sources that are there to establish a foundation, a good, godly, moral foundation to help you financially, physically, with food, everything, housing, all of that. Those resources exist, but under no circumstance do you have the right to take a life. I can't take your life. You can't take any other human being's life out here in the real world, other than in a circumstance where, you have to engage in self-defense and you have to protect from evil harming you. That's the only situation where that's acceptable. That's the only time where that is okay. But why don't these kids value life inside and outside of the womb? That's right. It doesn't fit their dream board or line up with their 5-year plan, if they even have one. But that ain't good enough, sweetheart. That don't matter. Like, these little blessings that God formed in you, they have to be defended at all costs. This has to stop, y'all. I know I raise my voice and I get passionate about this because I value human beings. We need to love each other. That's the name of the game. That's the solution to all the hate, the division, the craziness that we see unfolding in our society today. All this chaos, this self-righteous, this ignorant and irresponsible attitude towards babies, towards life in the name of women's rights has killed well over 60 million babies since Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade got overturned, but there's so many abortions that we'll never know about that will happen in the future as well. It needs to be made illegal across the board. But yet these students, these future mothers, these people that get pregnant and engage in these activities, they're still here. They have the same heartbeat that began beating inside of their mother's womb. How fair is it that you got to live, but that unborn innocent child that is blameless, that has committed no sins whatsoever, how come your life is viewed as superior to theirs? Spoiler alert, it's not. We're all on the same playing field. So again, thank God that your mother allowed you to live. Count your blessings every single day. And from now on, keep that in mind. Whenever you're about to open your mouth and spill out this evil hate and foolishness against people that are pro-life, don't. Psalm 127 verse 3 says, children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from him. We need to honor these kids. We need to love these kids. God bless Kristen Hawkins, all the pro-life advocates out there. The level of patience and the facts she brings to the table every time I've seen her is absolutely phenomenal. She's a blessing to this world, and she's out here doing the good Lord's work like I'm trying to do as well, sharing the good news, standing up and fighting for life and standing up and fighting against this evil, demonic, wicked sin that's promoting murder. That's not okay. Pray for these people, y'all. Pray for Kristen Hawkins. This is the kind of effort and courage that will continue to wake up these lost souls. I know it. But outside of that, y'all let me know what you think down below in the comments section. Let's keep this conversation rolling. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you're not already, ring that notification bell so you get notified anytime I post a video. And, feel free to share this video as always. The algorithm is always working against Christian values. So definitely get this out in front of the public so they can see what real truth looks like, not just this perceived fake of this world truth. But outside of that, if you want to support the channel, you like what I'm doing over here, you can always get awesome designs like this, Isaiah 41:10, made by my lovely wife over on her Etsy store. She also has insulated tumblers like this Soldiers of America one right here, many other Christian American designs, petite, small designs to big and hefty 5Xs. We got everything you would like over there, linked in the description section down below. Big thank you to my Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee members. Y'all know I love you. You putting your hard-earned money behind me, I am forever grateful. I can't even put it it into words how much you guys mean to me and just allowing me to monetarily support my family when YouTube may demonetize videos or whatever it may be. But if YouTube takes us down, I'll be over on Rumble, so make sure you're following me over there as well. But until next time, I love you. Godspeed. I'm gone.